not wanting my last business to be where I peaked. I just wouldn't know what to do. Cutting back on sleep, not making time for exercise. I have never worked a 9 to 5 job, not even an internship. Now that I've said it on video, I really hope that this challenge remains just a fun challenge and I don't have to actually act on it. I'm giving myself 75 days to build my new business. I have set a goal of reaching 1 lakh in profits by the end of this 75-day challenge. And if not, then I will take the L and get a real 9 to 5 job. Now don't get me wrong, I have nothing against 9 to 5 jobs, but I just wouldn't know what to do, and hopefully I'll never have to know. So let's skip to the good part. I know it's really funny because if you saw my last video, that was about my eat, pray, love, and really soft, wholesome vibe, and talking about finding that balance in living your life and also just hustling through work. So it does seem a little hypocritical to say that now I'm jumping into this new business and I'm giving myself this really tight timeline, but hear me out. I'll tell you why I'm giving myself a hard stop. I'm already observing that as I'm building out this new business, of course I'm a little more worried than I was when I was starting my first one, because I was only 21 at the time, and it was just a fun endeavor. Everything and anything was new, so that was just fun in and of itself. But now that I'm older, a lot more is at stake, whether it is how I want to live my life, whether it is maybe the external pressure that I feel now, which I didn't before, and also feel like there is a certain reputation to build beyond, and not wanting my last business to be where I peaked. I don't know, I think everybody has that fear. And so I'm giving myself 75 days.
70 मिनट है तुम्हारे पास.
Now, I've seen the business world closely, so I know what I'm getting into with my eyes and ears open, and I know how scary that can be. With that running at the back of my mind, I have been sleeping a lot less. Also because I have a lot of ideas going through my mind at night, and I really want to implement them. So I'm also excited, but I can see myself cutting back on sleep, not making time for Pilates, for my exercise, which I had gotten so regular with in the last 2 years. And I don't want that to become a part of my longer, larger lifestyle. And that's the reason for setting a 75-day also, so that I make meaningful progress in that time frame, so that I can then move on to a more balanced take of how I want to lift this off. Because this 75 days also validation of the product thesis, or at least current selection, and then eventually category selection, right? That's what I really want to nail in these 3 months. Otherwise, you know what's gonna happen. Either this takes off, or I get a solid enough insight which lets me pivot, perhaps within the same category, related category. The third is get a job. Now the target that I've set for myself is by the end of June, we're in mid-April right now, I should have achieved 1 lakh rupees in profit. Now this might seem really teeny tiny, but it is hard for D2C brands to take off and even reach a point of breaking even, which is when your costs are the same as the sales you're making, right? Even reaching that point is really hard. It can take months and even years sometimes. As I'm building this out profitably, this is the goal that I'm setting for myself. So that's what this video series is going to be about. I'll cover my weekly progress, build this with you, get feedback and insights, and I'm launching next week, by the way, and I'm nervous and I'm excited. Now what's different this time is I do feel power and strength in everything I've learned through my last experience, whether that is taking something from an idea off the ground to a decent amount of scale, and then raising capital for it, getting a team together, getting people to care about what you have to say, building some brand credibility around it. So I've done those things before, generated revenue, right? But what I haven't done is built out a product-based business, and I haven't done e-commerce or quick commerce listings and managing all of that, and then supply chain, the whole rigmarole that comes with this. Now I think I'm less scared about the skill aspect of it. I think what's more worrying to me is the mindset aspect of it, right? I was much younger when I started. I picked up all the skills of product marketing, and I'm doing the same thing. I am upskilling. My skill level for the same work has just grown through the years, which just tends to happen, right? If you're just working on something. I think the mental shift from the kind of freedom I felt starting up at 21 versus maybe baggage or weight I feel while starting up at 27 is just a lot different. And for the sake of being rational or accounting for potential shortcomings, sometimes I now tend to skew on the more skeptical side, which is very different from the ever optimist side that I had starting up the first time. And I really think that that's very necessary, because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is in a huge part the founders' stubbornness, their willingness to stick it out no matter the circumstances. It is extremely emotionally driven, as much as we may choose to deny it. Throughout the life cycles of many businesses, there would have been points where it would just logically make sense to stop or give up, or things not really moving in their favor, but for whatever reason people didn't. Attitude is what I'm trying to get back, actually, more than anything else. I think that's what you lose a little by little as you age. You've seen life, you get a little practical. You just try to account for what could possibly go wrong, and then already try to like pre-rectify it, or make sure you have all your ducks in a row before you get going, which is the part that I'm trying to avoid. And I'm hoping this kind of accountability that I'm establishing with you through this really helps me deliver on what I'm promising. What is each month for, right? We're in April, and I wanted that by this point in time, we're mid-April, I'd have my sampling done. I would have my first batch of orders ready, which I do. And I also want to give you the cost breakdown, right? Like, the whole point of being super transparent and vulnerable is also to tell you, because a lot of people are curious about how much goes into building. Now, I've not had to pay for building my Shopify website out, because I did that. Right now I have to pay for hosting and the domain. But what I have paid for is a bunch of AI tools, which I've mentioned in my other video, and the product in and of itself. I think I've spent close to 80,000 so far in the entire process of sourcing the products, as well as the sampling process, and also the packaging. So this month has gone in getting the products, getting my packaging figured out. I'm experimenting with a bunch of options which create for an interesting experience for the consumer. The whole unboxing is a little delight, is what I'm hoping I aim to please. Then getting into my rotation of sending out a few PR kits as soon as the packaging comes in, gets finalized, sending it to a few friends, influencers, and creating that content flywheel for original content for UGC. I think that's really important, because the more you see it, the more trust you build. And I'm really heavily relying on organic to be my main pull, especially Instagram. I don't want to depend heavily on ads. So that's the aim for April, to set the base, to set the foundation, optimize everything, and then do an official launch in May on maybe LinkedIn and Twitter also, which are my main sort of professional networks. A lot of overlap in the consumer also that I'm wanting to target will be on these two platforms. May is also when I'm hoping to get my first taste of revenue. I have set a very small but manageable goal. Hopefully I exceed that goal, but I just want to get to my first 40 orders. Now, this is very deliberate and intentional. I think often when we're just starting out, we maybe set really unrealistic expectations and think that nothing's working out because we're falling short of some overnight success we had in mind. So setting up like small but steady milestones, I want this to feel like a women's sort of collective in that sense. My initial customer base, who hopefully loves the product, or at least loves the brand enough, wants to build it with me enough to give me feedback and make it a continuous cycle for me. April, I'm just setting up the foundation. May, I'm starting to post regularly. June is when I'm hoping to reach what I started with, right? The main final mark of 1 lakh in profits. It's going to be a tough one, and at the end of the month I'm going to evaluate whether I fell short, or if I exceeded my expectations, or if I even enjoyed the process, whether I'm liking what I'm doing, whether I'm finding meaning, joy, purpose through it. I'm very excited about the product. I'm also excited the prospect of potential women I get to interact with because of the kind of product that I'm building. I'm hoping to meet a lot of savvy women through the process, learn more about their life, and be able to give them more offerings and make their lives easier, better, more beautiful on a regular basis. Another great thing is when you tell your story backwards, you tend to give a very consolidated version of that, and you miss out on these daily little details which seem mundane right now, which will seem so small in the larger scheme of things. But I also want to document it for myself so that looking back, I can just feel really proud of putting myself out there and just also paving the way for what it takes to go from idea to execution. At least, if nothing else, that's a push I can give to others who are aspiring to start up and probably held back because they feel like they need to be at a certain stage or level before they can start, and this gets them going. I think that would have also completed the mission. I think that's a huge part of doing the series. The personal brand with YouTube is another important aspect which I want to focus on. And then, of course, my first business, Now and Me, which is really just very close to my heart, my co-founder Dishti's heart. And we want to keep it going in some shape or form, perhaps as a passion project, just to serve people. Yeah, so we're going to continue that work. If you've liked what I've said so far, if you're curious and intrigued to see me suffer, enjoy the thrill of building, really see it at a microscopic level, the good, the bad, ugly, join in, and please do write to me or comment if there's any particular aspect you want me to focus on, whether that is going more granular on one particular area, which is, let's say, how do you build a Shopify website, or how do you take customer feedback, anything, right? Please tell me what I can go into more depth and detail and cover for you. Thank you for following along. I'm assuming you are all business enthusiasts in some shape or form. So keep me posted on what you like to see, what you like to do, what are you excited for the next video to cover, and I'll see you next week.